Hi, Ivo once again. Welcome back to a new movie review, and now I will review one of my personal favorite action films of all time, and that's Rambo 2008, the fourth installment in the Rambo franchise. And this is the only Blu-ray that I do have, is the back. This is the only Blu-ray. I don't have the DVD, or this is the theatrical cut. I don't have the director's cut, but I love this movie to death. Yes, love this movie. What can I say about Rambo 2008? I would say this: Rambo 2008 is quintessential, badass, best of the best action movies of all time in the past 20 years. Nowadays action movies, they don't have nothing on an action movie like Rambo. The movie is realistic. It's genocide. It's everything you see this movie is done for real, practical facts, all realistic. And Sylvester Stallone, in my opinion, gives one of his best performances ever. Before I start about this movie, I want to say it's Gotham on action films. It's phenomenal action movie. I kind of put this movie above Rambo First Blood Part 2. I love this movie to death. And this is a movie that ended the franchise, in my opinion. Rambo did a full circle, he came home. In this movie, Rambo came home, he made full circle, In Rambo 3, when Rambo has been asked by Troutman, when you gonna come full circle, Rambo did came full circle in this movie. He did a full circle. This movie perfectly ended, so there was no need Rambo 5. There was no need the next sequel, because Rambo came home. It ended, and there was this interview. Sly was Rambo, which has been actually released. It's actually been released on the Blu-rays in the UK. In the UK Blu-rays, they were actually released the interview which Sylvester Stallone was talking about all three Rambo films, because when this movie came out, when this movie Rambo came out, he was talking about the trilogy. And Stallone himself, he said that that the First Blood is actually one of the most powerful movies that he actually did. But I also know that he mentioned it at one point. He mentioned it that John Rambo's adventures, the character John Rambo started with First Blood and ended with Rambo. First Blood started it, ended it Rambo. This character ended. He made full circle and the character ended. And there is no need. There was actually practically no need to do the fifth movie. And yes, I would say quintessential badass action movie. It's my personal favorite action movie. It's in top 10 action films because I love this movie so much. I love all 4 Rambo movies and I love them all. And this is the only Rambo movie that was been directed by Sylvester Stallone himself. And it's the 4th film. And also, if you heard about it, Dirty Harry, played by Clint Eastwood. There are 5 Dirty Harry movies, and the 4th Dirty Harry, Sudden Impact, has been directed by Clint Eastwood himself. Yes, the man who played Inspector Harry Callahan, Dirty Harry, directed the 4th installment himself. Sylvester Stallone wrote the 4th installment from Rambo himself. And Sylvester Stallone wanted to do the 4th Rambo in the 90s. He also wrote one of the scripts in which his brother of Rambo captured some convicts, but they escaped. The convicts all escaped, and they want to kill Rambo. And there's supposed to be like I don't know, like during the storm or something. But I think the script was never that time for the film, so that wasn't the point, Sylvester Stallone, when back in 2002, he did 2001-2, he did Detox, then he did Avenging Angelo, then there was no, for the Stallone, there was no any role for him. So since he had time, he decided to do another Rocky and another Rambo. And Rambo was supposed to come out 2006 because he wanted Rambo first, but because of the Rocky Balboa, the sixth Rocky was already by MGM, and it was already announced, so he got a green light for Rocky Balboa. So Rambo came out the second then, 2008, but for 2008 this is a pure badass action movie, written by Sylvester Stallone, and the other writer is Art Montarasili, also produced by Sylvester Stallone. And Ted Kotcheff, who also directed First Blood, he acted as a I wrote down as technical consultant for this movie. Technician. He worked as technician for this movie. What I also wanted to say about pure badass action from Rambo, because not only that's very realistic, but it's genocide, and it shows the real stuff in Burma, which no one reads in those newspapers, and how Karen people have been treated by Burmese soldiers, but by Burmese army. I don't know what's going on there, but it's actually a real war, And I remember that I read that Sylvester Stallone and the whole cast, his cast and crew, they wanted to actually shot the film in Burma, but the army has been fire shots, above his head, and Stallone was actually very afraid for his life. They also filmed the film. They also filmed in Myanmar, in Burma. They found locations. I tried to find it on YouTube or on the map where those exactly filming locations on the forest, in the forest scenes that they did, where they were actually filmed. I couldn't find it. I only found it in the town's name Myanmar, which I never was there. But I think they filmed somewhere in the forest, because this movie is such a phenomenal Gotham action film. So great is this movie. Live for nothing or die for something, which I forgot the tagline. Heroes just never die; they just reload. Or one man against an army. I love this movie. Just a pure badass. This is actually the first Rambo movie in which we see Rambo with a t-shirt. The second and the third movie, he was without t-shirt. The reason was because Sylvester Stallone was getting tattoo. You can see that in the Expendables, but he got all the tattoos, so he was wearing t-shirt in this movie. But Sylvester Stallone was still working hard for this movie. Getting in shape. Not bad for 60 Man. He's a badass in this movie. Rambo is one of my personal favorite action films. The cast, the crew, even this poster, which I love. The cast, the crew, everyone worked well in this movie. It's genocide. People are being killed. This is the most goriest, essential Rambo movie so far. There's kids killed. There's old men. The villages are being burnt. They kill the Burmese army kills everyone. In this movie. There's also the extended version. I watched it, but I could not get into it. I don't like the extended version. In the extended version, Michael and Sarah are actually couple. In this movie, thank God it was cut in the theatrical cut, because it's only 1 hour 19 minutes without end credits. This was this movie was actually the most shortest Rambo of them all, until Rambo Last Blood came out. But the movie was actually the budget for making this movie was $50 million, but made worldwide I think was $113 million. The most expensive was actually Rambo 3, which the budget for Rambo 3 costed $63 million. While this movie and The Last Blood, it cost $50 million the budget. The most expensive was Rambo 3 when they were making Rambo 3. For Rambo 3, worldwide made $189 million. This movie was less successful and got $113 million, while First Blood earned $125 million. So the Rambo First Blood Part 2 made a world record and broke a world record in money and earned $300 million with Rocky 4. So all 4 Rambo movies were successful. Rambo Last Blood, the 5th one, was the only one that earned $93 million. It was the same budget as they did this film, And Rambo Last Blood sucked. And I'm just not wanna talk about it that film, What's also so awesome about this film, see this knife. At one point, I'm speaking for myself, I thought that the Arkansas knifesmith Jimmy Lyle, who designed 2 survival knives in the first 2 Rambo movies, First Blood and Rambo, First Blood Part 2, I thought that Jimmy Lyle wanted to return and design a new movie knife for Rambo in this 4th film, but no, I read it yesterday. I read it about in the 3rd movie that in the 3rd movie Rambo is using now Bowie knife. He is a larger blade than in the first 2 movies. And at one point, Jimmy Lyle wanted to design he designed a prototype survival Bowie knife that Sylvester Stallone wanted for Rambo 3. But before that, fantasy knife smith maker Gil Hibben already did a prototypical knife, the one that Stallone wanted, and the guy Lyle designed the same prototype, the one that Stallone wanted, but he wanted to use Hibben. And because he rejected Jimmy Lyle and he did not pay him a cent, Jimmy Lyle was offended. He took that as offensive, and he said that Stallone should have make Hibben on himself, and he was offended. And I actually thought that in this movie that Arkansas knifesmith Jimmy Lyle wanted to do the blade for Rambo, but no. The blade that you see in this poster, the blade, the mini machete, it's been called Rambo's mini machete. This is the only blade that was made by Sylvester Stallone himself. It's been produced by Gil Hibben, which was a collaboration between Stallone, but Sylvester Stallone did it himself, And Rambo, Sylvester Stallone, Rambo was actually mini machete was actually primarily built Golok made out of slab of metal, as opposed to his expertly survived knives. It was made out of Golok, slab, and metal. The blade. And Sylvester Stallone stayed whole night. He stayed, and he filmed the scene in one shot. And during the time constrictions, he had to do that all at once, without cooling the blade. There was several pair of gloves that were used, but Stallone did it himself. He designed the blade, the mini machete that you see in this poster, is in the movie. He designed the mini machete, and mostly that you see in this film was portrayed realistic. The actor who played Major Patty Tint, played by Maung Hin, I think was Maung Hin. He fought for Karen people in Burma. He fought for Karen people. And at first he refused to take the role because he was afraid that his family would be murdered. But he took the role anyway then, and was never explained mostly why. But I can explain why: because he was honoring, people. Because he was, they did it right. They were honoring people and show what Burmese army is making, what is doing to Karen people, how been mistreated, how been killed. And Sylvester Stallone also stated he saw maggots out of people's ears, and he saw cat legs, cat arms, everything that he saw in this movie, like the kid's been tortured, one kid's been stabbed with bayonet, the other has been shot, and they are cutting people's arms, legs, that's happened over the world, And this movie was realistic, it's realistic, it's well made, and Rambo made a full circle, in my opinion, He come full circle, like Colonel Troutman said, music score was beautiful this time. Beautiful music score by Brian Tyler. Jerry Goldsmith, rest in peace. He could not return for Rambo. No, he could not return because he passed away in 2004. Colonel Troutman, played by Richard Crenna, could not return for Rambo because he passed away in 2003 with cancer. And I think that Sylvester Stallone did that Colonel Troutman character died during 2003, just like Richard Crenna did. There was actually written for James Rowling that he's supposed to return as Colonel Troutman, but Colonel Troutman has been then written out of the script. And and Sylvester Stallone wanted something different, This is actually an army action war film, a war action film. And they don't make them like this anymore. They don't, This is a pure badass action film. Quintessential badass action film, in my opinion. I love this movie to death. I put this movie above Rambo First Part 2. I love all Rambo films, but I love this movie. It's my third favorite Rambo film. Love this movie. I love all 4 Rambo movies. They're great. They are Gotham action films. They don't make them like this anymore, And Sylvester Stallone's best performance for the character Sarah, played by Julie Benz. Sylvester Stallone saw her in Dexter TV show. Yes, I watched all Dexter shows, and he liked her performance, so he asked her if she would took the role as Sarah Miller, and Julie Benz did. But after this movie was released, she decided to help people by working with Uwe's campaign for the Burma. She decided to help people, and Julie Benz also best performance. Michael Schultz plays Paul Schultz plays Michael Burnett, and of course then we do have Graham McTavish as Lewis. Sylvester Stallone and Graham McTavish reunited 7 years later in Creed. In August I watched Creed, but the first time 5 years ago when I watched Creed I hated it, but now when I watch it again, I had some nitpicks with that film Creed, but I liked it, especially performance by Graham McTavish and the actor who was playing opponent to Creed. I really thought that Creed was a well-made movie, even though it had some few nitpicks, but not everyone would agree with me. Creed 2 sucked. I hated that film. Was one of the worst Stallone movies he ever did. But Graham McTavish played Lewis, which I love his character. Yes, I love Lewis. I love his character, and I kind of had to write down some of the actors. Matthew Marsden, Schoolboy, I love his character. Schoolboy was the only one that was decent of the mercenaries. Tim Kang was Angel, and the other actor was Ronaldo Galigas as Diaz. And the other actor was also Mint. He was the leader of Karen Rebels. Sopukoran Kitsuwan. They're kind of unknown actors, but really, I love this film. So I've been talking almost 19 minutes about the film, but I didn't get to the plot. Okay, so Rambo starts where the third movie left off. This was actually 20 years. Was made 20 years after Rambo 3, because it was released 2008. Rambo 3 was released on 25 May 1988 in the US. So this movie was been released in 2008, 20 years later. So Rambo picks over when Rambo 3 ends. We see now Rambo living a peaceful life in Thailand, just as in the third movie. But this time he's hunting cobras for living. He's fisherman. He's hunting fishes still. He hunts them with bow and arrow. He just tries to survive and just to get by. Just like he said to Rambo for Part 2. How you gonna live, John? Day by day. And that's what John does, He tries to get by hunting cobras, sold them for money, and fishing, by hunting fishes, by fishing. And one day, a group of a group of Christians who are working with Colorado's, with Colorado church, they show up, and Michael Burnett, played by Paul Schultz, asked Rambo if he could drag him to, if Rambo could drive him through the Thailand's river to the Burma. And Rambo says Burma is actually Burma is actually war zone, And I said to say he couldn't change anything. And Rambo, this is the first time which Rambo says, "Fuck the world." I love that, Fuck the world. Love that. Now, Sarah Miller tries to convince Rambo to drive in with the boat through from Thailand to Burma, but at first he says no. But Sarah then, she shows back and she also asks him once again, and Rambo says, "You're not changing anything, go home." But Rambo, she convinces him, In the extended cut, it took 3 times Sarah begging Rambo to take her. He was a selfish asshole dick prick in the extended cut. That's one of the reasons why I don't like that. This movie, the theatrical cut makes the movie, it makes the movie a decent. I love the character in the theatrical cut, Yeah, I forgot to mention, I did not saw this movie theater 2008, was not interested in seeing movies. I kind of regret not seeing this badass movie, but I do have the Blu-ray and I watch it every time and I enjoy it. It's one of my personal favorite action films of all time. So Rambo decided to take Sarah and Michael and the rest of the Christian workers with his boat from Thailand into the Burma. And Rambo did not take any of the money, They want to pay him, but no, he did it for free, And Rambo goes. They are traveling through the river, and so what happened? They come across pirates, And the pirates, they caught him. They catch them, and Rambo says in Burmese, they are just driving medicine to the hell poor people, poor Karen people. They should just pass, and the guy pirate was saying, shut up. He says there's a bitch, and says Rambo, take everything but leave her alone, And they start attacking. They are being disrespectful, and Rambo grabs a gun. This is the first time I see Rambo using a pistol. By the way, I wrote down his pistol. I wrote somewhere down, I think was Tokarev TT-33, a pistol, he was using a Tokarev TT-3, a pistol, and he was fast and shot all the pirates, and one of the guys he shot and see blood, this movie is the most gory, And I love these lines. I actually didn't wrote it down because I remember it. And Rambo said, "What did you do? We can't stop killing. Who are you to do the judge?" And Rambo grabs Michael and grabs him. Says, "Who are you? Who are you? They will rape you 50 times and they will cut your fucking heads off. Who are you? What are you? We're going back." And I love it. I said, "No, Michael, this is your idea. There is some sacrifice made. But we continue, and Rambo then goes, with Sarah. He goes there, he always asks Sarah, I can always turn back. I love Rambo so much in this movie, love the guy to death. It's my favorite character, and I love that says, I'm not asking you. I love Rambo so much. So they go to the river, and I love when Michael says, I have to report this, I know what you think you did right, but taking any life is never right. And this is what I agree with Michael. Why I love Paul Schultz, Michael Burnett too. You think what you did was right, but taking any life is never right, which I agree. I agree, Taking any life is never right, and I love that, I love that in this movie, So now Michael and the rest of the Christian workers, with Sarah, they go in the village, in Karen village, and they are helping poor people, They're doctors, they're helping poor people, they bring supplies, food, medicine, they're helping poor people, poor kids, without legs, cutting their legs, they're helping them, Meantime, Rambo goes with his men with a boat, and they burned the boat. I read that, I don't remember the extended cut, but I read it that actually Rambo, he showed in the boat that Rambo survived a knife from Rambo First Blood Part 2, which it means he's done with killing, no more killing, which burned it. By the way, I would really love to see reaction from Jimmy Lyle's face that his survived a knife has been shown the fire in this movie. He will be probably pissed. But that was extended cut, extended cut is more gory, which I don't like the extended cut. I prefer the theatrical cut more, So in the village, we see Burmese army how been mistreating people, and this Burmese army attacks the village, which they are poorly people. They have no weapons, nothing, and they start bombing the village. They start killing everyone. Like I said, one kid's been stabbed with bayonet while the soldier's standing on his face. The other's been shot. That they are cutting people's arms and legs. They are burning with flame tower in this movie. And Sarah and Michael somehow they survive, but the rest of the rest of the people have been killed. The rest of the Christian workers, they are taking them alive. And you see how people are being killed in a gory way. Like kids, people, old people. The village has been burned. And so now the Burmese army now takes the survivors as prisoners into their camp, And meantime, Rambo is sleeping, during the storm, and we see the flashbacks from one of 3 movies, We also see Colonel Troutman in the flashbacks. There's also another scene from the first movie, First Blood, in which Troutman, he pulls the gun on Rambo, and Rambo grabs Troutman's hand, and the gun goes off, because that was the latest scene in the final cut in First Blood, But there's a lot of flashbacks from all 3 movies, which I love that. I love that there's all flashbacks from the first 3 movies. Then Pastor Marsh, the actor who played Pastor Marsh, passed away in 2016. I forgot the actor's name, but the actor's name, rest in peace, who played Pastor Marsh. He informed Rambo that Michael Burnett, who informed them, he and his Christian workers, they all disappeared, and the Karen rebels told them that the Burmese army took them into their camp, and they want that Rambo takes the mercenaries into into a rescue mission by helping them by saving Christian workers and bring them back, into Thailand. And Rambo, like I mentioned, the blade, you already see that was for real. Sylvester Stallone, the stunt he made that blade, this blade himself. He made this blade himself, I love his mini machete, his blade, love it. It's different than his first 3 movies, survival knives and Bowie knife, because this is actually made of metal and slab of metal, built with Golok, made out of slab of metal, you know, opposed his other 3 knives, his other survival and movie knives, you know, in the first 3 movies, you know. That's which is awesome about this movie, you know. And I also wrote the lines, you know, while he's actually Sylvester Stallone, who filmed whole night, you know, the scene, who was building his machete, you know, his mini machete that he was building, you know. I actually wrote his lines somewhere. I have to find it. I found it, you know. While building the metal blade, he says, you know what you are, what you're made of. War is in your blood. Don't fight it. You didn't kill for your country. You kill for yourself. God's never gonna make that go away. When you're pushed, killings as easy as breathing, you know. When you're pushed, killings is as easy as breathing, you know. Yes, I love that lines that Rambo says, you know. You know what you are, what you're made of. War's in your blood. Don't fight it. You didn't kill for your country. You killed for yourself. God's never gonna make that go away. When you're pushed, killings is easy as breathing. I love the lines. I love these lines that Sylvester Stallone says, you know. I forgot to mention important thing, but author of First Blood, David Morrell himself, expressed satisfying this movie that he's pleased, and he also says that the character John Rambo is taken from his First Blood novel, that Rambo is being discussed, you know, what he is, what he's made of, you know, that he's been discussed, that he discussed what he was doing, you know, by killing people, you know, and that was taken from his novel First Blood. And David author expressed that he's pleased from this film. It's kind of gory, and the violence not for everyone, you know. But he expressed pleased, and he gave this movie 3 out of 5 stars. I will give this movie 5 out of 5 stars. That's what I would give, you know. You know, I would give 5 stars out of 5 stars, you know, in my opinion. But yeah, so then Rambo goes with the mercenaries, you know, which we see Diaz, Schoolboy, Lewis, my favorite character, Lewis, you know, Ennio, one of the men was Reese, and I think was, yeah, those are the mercenaries. And I love Lewis' lines. I wrote it down because I love Greg Betawer's character so much. He was so great in this movie. The first line was, "Look at this place. Only a fucking A will live here. What the fuck I'm doing here?" That's Lewis. Cracker McTavish, Locken, Graham McTavish, great. His best performance, you know. And also, the second line was, "I don't want to fucking die of old age before I go there, so move!" For fuck's sake, I can speed past this. Fuck, man, I don't want the fucking old age. Hey, Boatman, I don't want to fucking die of old age before I get there, so move! Come on, chop chop! Quickly we come here, quickly we get back! I love that Lewis complaining, I love it so much, you know. This is which I wrote the lines from Lewis, you know, to Rambo. "Those god squatters, they come over here, spitting all that shit. They expect the whole world to start working like their fucking neighbor. Well, it doesn't. Well, it doesn't. So they sent in the devil to do God's work. Is it ironic, isn't it? Am I boring you, mate? Is it a trip? Has it got you nervous? 'Cause really, you should appreciate the action. You know what I mean." And he says, got to be there looking at the ass, got to be there looking at the ass end of a snake. Oh dear, you really are an uptight bastard, you know. And Rambo spits, he spits, you know, and says, "Uptight bastard, aren't you? You can drop the 1,000-yard stare. I've seen it before, and I'm not impressed." That's my favorite scenes, my favorite lines from Rambo. By the way, look who's back. Rick! Rick! Rick, I love you, Rick. Oh, wait, my dog, I love you. Say hi. Hi. So when they when Rambo shows up, when they finally came to the river, to the end of the river, with the boat. By the way, this is the second time we also see Rambo on the boat. The last time we saw it was on Rambo First Blood when he was traveling with pirates. This time he has his own boat. So Rambo goes with the mercenaries on the end of the river in Burma. And at first, the mercenaries doesn't know nothing about Rambo. They think he's just a boatman, But Rambo goes there and Lewis doesn't let him, And Schoolboy says he can go with me, but no, he's gonna bring us back, And says only one fucking man and kid, because the kid is a good tracker, So the mercenaries are now going to the village, and we see all the cut, we see people being hanged. We see those flies buzzing around corpses. We see bunch of corpses, which is crazy. They even killed an animal, these stupid animals, Those army are actually animals, They killed everyone, And that was kind of really insane. And then we see a patrol of, I think, were 4 soldiers, with an army truck. They showed up. And they're putting mines, the open scene, and they also put in mines, and they are finding the people, and they had to run to the river, and one of them steps on the mine and explodes, they are betting, that's how they treated with human beings, And they are fire them, which 4 people or 5, 6 people, they go run to the river, which there are mines in it, but they don't explode, and they had to go back, And the mercenaries doesn't do anything, they're hiding, so they're not gonna be spotted. But Rambo shows up, with bow and arrow. That's actually in the disc, but that's bow and arrow, Rambo shows up with bow and arrow and starts firing, He starts firing on those soldiers, And one of them is being shot right to his chin, and the other one has been shot in the back. And when he runs, the last one, then Rambo fires bow and arrow, he falls down on the mine and explodes to pieces, which is gory, And now we see Rambo using bow and arrow after after Rambo First Part 2 and Rambo 3. The only problem that I had with that scene is that Rambo doesn't use explosive arrows like he did in the first 2 movies, Rambo First Part 2 and Rambo 3. That's the only problems that I do have, But Rambo uses knife, he uses bow and arrow, and he kills with bow and arrow 4 Burmese soldiers, like a pure badass. And now, like a pure badass he is, and now Lewis says they're going back, and Rambo grabs the bow and arrow and aims at him and says, and he says, Sally didn't wrote the lines, but he says, and if your boss wants to shoot, now's the time. No one wants to be here, but this is what we do. This is who we are. Live for nothing or die for something. The Burmese, Korean people said that it's actually a boost to those lines to fight for them, for the freedom. Live for nothing or die for something. And Rambo says, let's move. And now they go, now they go in the camp, in the Burmese army camp, and the mercenaries goes stabbing those soldiers, and Rambo goes, he saves Michael, then the mercenaries they take Michael and the rest, and the rest of the Christian workers, and they try to escape. And Michael says, where's Sarah? And they say that she's still back. And says, no, but now it's Sarah. And Lewis, like a pure badass, just grabs her, throws her to the floor, and says, God didn't save your life, we did. Now move! I love Lewis, And Rambo goes back for Sarah, and this guy tries to rape Sarah, and Rambo, like pure badass, grabs him, squeezes him, and kills the motherfucker. We see all blood, he squeezes him like a pure badass machine Rambo is in this movie, you know, and saves Sarah. And when Sarah and Rambo tries to escape, there was actually, I love that scene, which was rain. You know, they filmed in the rain scene. You know, then I'm not sure was that rain made. Was actually rain made, or was they filmed really with rain? I don't know, you know. But that was badass, you know, the rain scene at night, you know, after midnight was 1 a.m. the mornings, they actually make a rescue mission, you know. And Rambo runs with Sarah, and two guards, you know, two Burmese soldiers spotted them, and they try to hit Sarah, and he jumps on Sarah, but schoolboy with sniper rifle, which I wrote down, I wrote down the sniper rifle was Barrett M107 CQ 50 mg rifle. You know, there's a 50 mg BMG, 50 BMG sniper rifle. You know, he with sniper rifle, he goes and shots both the guards. You know, in the face. He shots them both in the guards. You know, with sniper rifle, and he goes back and says, "Rambo, why should you come back?" And as Rambo says, what did you know? And by the way, we see 4 women who are making a show to those Burmese army, and they act, and the army soldiers start treating horrible, you know, to women. They are treating them like terrible, you know. They're horrible, humble. They're treating them. Poor women, you know, they treat them really terrible, you know. And now Rambo is behind Lewis and the rest of the team, you know, saving Michael and the church, the Christian workers. But sadly, the Christian worker, Louis steps on a clay mine, you know, and his legs blow to pieces. And he says, "My legs," you know, and Michael says, "No, leave the boot on, we're doctors," you know, and they make a stretcher and they carry him, but suddenly they being caught, you know, we have all the dogs. And this is another scene that I actually love, when Rambo, Sarah and schoolboy are in front the Burmese soldiers, you know, which they go with the dogs. This is actually the second time we see dogs, you know. The last time they did in First Blood, you know. And Rambo says, "I'm gonna give them shots, give me claymore," and says, "Fire a shot." And schoolboy says, "What? Fire a shot!" And schoolboy fires a shot, and Rambo goes in a different direction and puts the claymore mine, and the soldiers go, who puts a booby trap, the soldiers go click the booby trap, and you see a great practical effect explosion, and all their 20 soldiers blown to pieces, you know. Great explosion, practical explosion. It was not CGI, it was practical explosion, you know, which I love that in this movie. So now Lewis, Michael, and the rest of the mercenaries and the Christian workers, they've been caught, you know. And Rambo, they've been caught, and now they decide to be shot, you know. And also Tint is torturing them, you know. And Louis says, "You can't be again, you can't, let's fuck." You can't be again, and he does. So Tint cans him, you know, and they want to shot them. And Sarah and of course schoolboy sees that, and Sarah says, "What do you do?" And schoolboy says, "We can't do nothing right now, you know, we can't help him, you know, they just can't watch." And Rambo, now pure badass, he goes in this jeep, you know, like a pure badass, a fighting machine he is in this movie. He goes, you know, he goes in this jeep, and with machete, he swings the motherfucking head off of Burmese soldier, and goes on this machine gun. You see in this scene, Browning, it was actually, it was, what was that machine gun? A Browning aircraft machine gun, you know, 50 caliber, M2 50 caliber. I'm just gonna call it a Browning aircraft machine gun, you know. He uses like a pure badass, he is aircraft machine gun, goes and kills all the fucking bad guys, you know. And now schoolboy also shoots the bad guys, you know, and the rest of mercenaries start fighting, you know. They're grabbing, and then the rebels with Mint, they showed up, you know. And the rebels, there's a war, and Rambo, like a pure badass, goes fire all the bad guys, you know, with aircraft machine gun, you know, with Browning aircraft machine gun, M2, 50 caliber, and kills all the fucking bad guys, you know. And then we see a patrol boat that starts firing, and Rambo, you know, he puts the new bullets and starts firing the machine gun, but he gets wounded, you know, because with the boat patrol and with another machine gun, you know, they fire back, and Rambo gets hit. This is the second time that Rambo gets hit in the eye. In the first blood, when the escorts are firing from the cliff, they also one of them hits him in the eye, you know. Right in the abdomen, in the eye, he was hit, you know. And the test audience, you know, when the audience are looking at that scene, they said it's unrealistic. But the war veterans from Iraq and from Gulf Wars, they said that's realistic. You know, that could happen, it's realistic, you know, for the aircraft. Also, Stallone stated it was realistic, the fact. The audience are stupid, you know, for thinking that. So, yeah. So Rambo goes back, fires at the bad guys, you know, and they shoot him with a patrol boat, and he's been hit, you know. And then Rambo, you know, see another patrol with Burmese soldiers, you know, goes with the truck. The reason I'm laughing because Rambo turns the machine gun and fires like in the video game. He kills them like a pure badass machine. He goes and kills it. You know, and actually they wanted that Rambo was holding the machine gun in his hands, but because the aircraft machine gun, you know, the Browning aircraft machine gun, you know, 50 caliber was way too heavy to hold in the arms. They actually put it on the jeep, which is in that scene, you know, in which Rambo, you know, is standing on the jeep and find the bad guys, you know. And this is once again that Rambo's been avoiding the flame tower, you know, just like in the previous installment. And this is my favorite scene when Rambo goes and fires all the bad guys, you know, with machine gun, you know, Browning aircraft machine gun, you know, 50 caliber. That's my favorite scene. I love this scene, you know. Rambo stands on the jeep, kills all the bad guys, you know. He also killed the second patrol, the second guard, the second soldier on a truck, you know. And that's my favorite scene. And also you see more blood, you know. And also Michael kills one of the bad guys, you know, self-defense. And Rambo, schoolboy, grabs a sniper rifle and fires on the guy with the machine gun, the boat patrol, and see a bloody pieces. And then we see this actor who played this guy. I wrote it down. What the hell? I can't find the actor who I wrote it down. Who played, I think, was that unknown actor I mentioned before. I think was that guy Mint. I can't remember the guy's name. You know, he was the leader of Korean rebels. You know, Mint. He was actually using rocket launcher M13684, you know, on boat patrol, and he goes and pulls the anti-tank grenade launcher and blows the ship to pieces, you know, which is a pure badass, you know. And Rambo also kills like over 20 or 40, 50, 60 Burmese soldiers, like a pure badass he is, you know. And then Rambo jumps out the jeep while Major Tint is running, you know, and Rambo goes, stabs him right, like, he stabs him, goes and he watches him, and he goes like this, and we see all the fucking bloody cut, you know. That's what Rambo does with this machete. He goes and stabs him, and he goes, makes a huge cut, and he kicks him with a leg, and Tint falls down, you know. And now Rambo saved everyone, you know. He saved the rebels, he saved Sarah and Michael. They were united, you know, and Michael also is wings him like this, you know. And now Rambo goes back home. Rambo makes full circle, he goes back home to Bowie, Arizona, just like he said, and we see the ranch of Rambo, Rambo. Rambo made full circle and it ended. The final shots are actually shot in Arizona, just like Rambo says, Bowie, Arizona, where he's from, he's Bowie, Arizona. The final shot they were actually in Arizona, but most of the shots they were in Thailand, that they say they did the Thailand scenes, the open scene, and the rest was in Burma, I think was, I think it was, I forgot. I think it was in Myanmar that they actually filmed. They actually, yeah, Myanmar. They actually filmed. The film was actually filmed in Thailand, then Myanmar, and the final scene they were actually shot in Arizona. They were shot in Arizona when we see Rambo's ranch. And a beautiful music score by Brian Tyler. I read some haters about this film, like they say it's the worst one, the Rambo films, or he once said like, there's no Colonel Troutman, there's no Jerry Goldsmith music score. Jerry Goldsmith could not return because he passed away in 2004, rest in peace, and Richard Crenna as Colonel Troutman could not return because he passed away in 2003, rest in peace. And yes, Colonel Troutman has been rewritten out of the script because he passed away. Stallone did that, he passed away in 2003, just like the actor passed away. James Brolin is supposed to play Colonel Troutman. I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad this is different, that it doesn't copy the first three movies, And this is this is my third favorite Rambo movie of all time. I love this movie. Number one would be Rambo 3, then First Blood, then Rambo. I love this movie to death. I love Rambo films so much, Yeah, that's my movie review on Rambo 2004. Rambo 2008, the fourth installment, which is a sequel to First Blood, Rambo First Blood Part 2 and Rambo 3. This is the fourth installment. And in my opinion, this movie ended, Rambo made full circle, he came full circle, he came home, he came full circle, he ended. The franchise ended. Rambo Last Blood does not exist for me. I'm not gonna even review that film. I don't wanna talk about it because I already talked 3 times about that film. I don't wanna talk anymore, I reviewed 3 times that film and I'm done, so I'm also coming into the franchise. But yeah, that's my movie review on Rambo 2008. Badass, quintessential badass action film. For my personal favorite action film of all time. My third favorite Rambo movie. Huge Sylvester Stallone fan. I love Rambo films. I love Demolition Man, Cliffhanger, Cobra, Rocky films. Lock Up. I love Tango and Cash. The Specialist I love. Over the Top, I love Cobra, I love, Nighthawks, all the movies that Stallone did, I love. Even the first 2 Expendables, I love, But Rambo, to me, is better than Expendables or any of the movies that Stallone did, Well, thanks for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time. And the next franchise that I'm gonna do will be Die Hard, which they're gonna come next. Take care now. Bye-bye. Ciao. I'm out. Peace.